fun. I want to talk about the story of Jonathan Pentland, which you may have seen on social media. This happened, I think, yesterday, or maybe the day before. And I'll just read the story to you from Fox News. You wouldn't believe, well, you would believe it. So this black guy shows up in this cul-de-sac neighborhood, and he's harassing people for like a week. And the other day, I don't know what the altercation was. He was acting weird outside of somebody's house, loitering outside somebody's house. Now, keep in mind, this is a cul-de-sac in a suburb. Do you know what a cul-de-sac is? It means it's a dead end. So, you know, it's one thing for somebody to loiter outside of a Wendy's or a 7-Eleven or a bank or whatever, a bus stop in public. But it's another thing to go where you don't belong. It's another thing to go to someplace. And when I say don't belong, like, hey, black people don't belong in this neighborhood, I don't mean it like that. I mean, it's another thing to go somewhere where you really have no business being there. If I just go and drive 45 minutes to a random suburb and go in a cul-de-sac, why am I there? There's nothing for me there. I don't live there. I don't know anyone there. I'm not visiting anyone there. I'm not getting a service like going to a bank or getting fast food or anything like that. So, you know, you're somewhere where you shouldn't be. You're somewhere where you just don't belong. So this black guy is outside of somebody's house in a cul-de-sac, and he's been there for a week causing problems, and he's loitering around. This guy's wife comes into the house and says, hey, can you talk to this guy? He's acting weird. He's outside our house. So this guy, Jonathan Pentland, who's a Army sergeant, comes outside the house and says, hey, get out of here. And the black guy doesn't budge. I don't know. Maybe there's something wrong with him, but he doesn't move. He doesn't go anywhere. So Pentland raises his voice and starts shoving him and says, hey, get out of here, you know, because the guy's like non-compliant, refusing. Something's obviously off here. It's not a big deal. This is what you're supposed to do. Somebody videotapes the encounter, posts it on Twitter, and it goes viral. A white, jacked Army sergeant bullying some black kid. And he did at one point say these unfortunate words. He said, you're in the wrong neighborhood, which you should never, ever say to a black person, because we know that black people are never in the wrong neighborhood. They're always just where they need to be, right? Black people are never in the wrong neighborhood because the whole world belongs to them. They're never in the wrong house when they steal your TVs. They're never in the wrong neighborhood. Don't suspect them of anything. They can do no wrong. But so it goes viral. And not moments later did an entire army of black people show up to this cul-de-sac in front of this guy's house, a lynch mob, throwing bricks through his windows, throwing things at his house, breaking things outside of his house, demanding that he come outside and fight them. A mob of people around his suburb. This is in South Carolina. Police show up on the scene and arrest the guy. They arrest Pentland, the sergeant that told the guy to leave his property. And I'll read you the full write-up here from Fox News. It says, quote, Jonathan Pentland, a 42-year-old Army drill sergeant at Fort Jackson, South Carolina, has been charged with third-degree assault, also known as simple assault, in connection with the viral video that appeared to show him shove a black man on a South Carolina sidewalk during an altercation. The events that preceded the video are not recorded, and Richland County Sheriff Leon Lott declined to give details, although he noted that the black man in the video had been involved in other incidents in the area in recent days. Sound familiar? Sound familiar? Wasn't that the same story with Ahmaud Arbery? Lott said during the news conference, there were some other things that occurred that really doesn't justify the actions of Pentland. Oh, really? The black man, whose name was withheld by authorities, but who has been identified as DeAndre, of course, on social media, was accused of simple assault for allegedly touching a woman's waist after her shorts had fallen down on April 8th. And on April 10th, he was accused of repeatedly picking up a baby and attempting to walk away with it. Lott said those charges would not be prosecuted. Okay? So you have this black guy in the neighborhood causing trouble, touching girls, touching babies, which, by the way, he's not going to get charged for that. This drill sergeant comes out of his house and says, hey, get out of here. You've been causing problems. You're hanging out outside my house. What are you doing here? Get out of here. You're in the wrong neighborhood. Shoves him a little bit, says, hey, get out of here, because he refuses to comply. Police come in and charge Pentland. charge Pentland for shoving the black guy, not charge a black guy for touching girls, touching babies, hanging out outside the house. And the police say that it doesn't justify the shoving. It didn't justify Pentland's actions, really. In the viral video, Pentland's wife can be heard accusing the man of picking a fight with some random young lady nearby. According to an incident report, an unnamed white female asked Pentland to confront the man, who was then walking on the sidewalk outside his home in The Summit, a community northeast of Columbia, South Carolina. Sheriff Lott said on Wednesday that officers at the scene did not have sufficient evidence to charge Pentland with anything more than a property crime for allegedly smacking the man's phone out of his hands. But the incident report states that the responding officers reviewed cell phone video that showed Jonathan pushing DeAndre because he was walking towards Jonathan's wife that was on her property. In the viral video, Pentland can be seen shoving the man as he steps toward the lawn, and Pentland says, "Walk away, you're talking to my wife right now, walk away." After the sheriff announced the assault charge, Black Lives Matter protesters rallied outside Pentland's home. Authorities said most of them were peaceful, but vandals in the crowd damaged parts of the home, and deputies took the family to a safe location and advised them that only local residents would be let into the area. Vandalism included hurling an object through a second-story window and smashing exterior lights. So it was a mostly peaceful lynch mob. When this mob of black people showed up outside his house and threw bricks through his window and damaged his property, they were mostly peaceful protesters, but there were just some violent vandals inside the mob of people that showed up to the house, which, by the way, none of them are being charged, of course. Nobody being charged for the vandalism, nobody being charged for the brick through the window, nobody being charged for the baby touching or the girl touching, but Pentland will be charged for shoving the guy. And this is like the definition of anarcho-tyranny, which we've been talking about now for years, which I told you was coming. This is the definition of it. You've got criminals which are maybe casing your house, criminals causing problems in your neighborhood. If you go out and do anything about it, you get arrested. Then it goes viral on social media. They show up to your house, break your windows, intimidate you, smash your stuff, forcing you into police protection, and none of them get charged. You are being sandwiched between anarchy and tyranny. Is there any clearer depiction of what that looks like than this? You might say, anarchy and tyranny, those are opposites. How can you have both anarchy and tyranny? This is how. This is what it looks like. This is anarcho-tyranny. You are being terrorized by criminals, and if you do anything to protect or defend yourself, you become the criminal. You become the victim of a tyrannical police state, and the criminals roam free. Ultimately, you can really only have it when it's segregated based on class and race. It is largely working and middle-class white people who are the subject of this. The rich white people, they get protection largely from the police. They live in gated communities. They can hire private security. They don't have to face the anarchy. So there's a class limitation there. And of course, blacks are not the subject of tyranny either. They live among the anarchy. They are the anarchy. But they never get persecuted by the police. That's for Capitol rioters and Trump supporters. But BLM never faces any consequences. So you have the anarchy, which is, I guess, an extension of the government. They're a force that the government allows. Certain groups can be the anarchy. And I guess the potential resistance, the white working class, white middle class, white people that are not in charge, white people that are not Jewish or wealthy. It's white people that maybe because they present a threat to the tyranny, they are subject to both. They are subject to the scrutiny and the persecution by the government, as well as subject to the terror by the anarchists, by the rabble, by the black and Hispanic mobs, by the hordes over there. It's what it is. It's what it is. And, this is America now in 2021. You've got somebody who clearly is not where they're supposed to be. You go out there to protect your wife and family, and you become the bad guy, not only in the eyes of the law, but also in the eyes of the mob. So you've got the police come to arrest you. You go, oh, gee, I'm getting arrested. I did the right thing. And then you come home, and they're throwing bricks through your window, and they don't get charged. You come home, oh, gee, man, this sucks. I just got booked. Man, this is unfair. And then you drive home. Hey, what's all that noise? Hey, who are all these people outside my house? And then you come home and you got to go into police protection because There's more of them outside your house, smashing your windows, scaring your wife and kids, and those people don't get arrested. This is what it's like now to be a white person in America in 2021. And what are we supposed to do in this situation? Please tell me. Banned from social media, your votes don't count, you're precluded from participating in elections, you can't defend yourself, you can't own guns. So, I mean, at a certain point, what else can you call this other than a genocide, other than systematic extermination of white people? It's what it is. This is just what it is. If you try to advocate for yourself, you get politically destroyed and maybe imprisoned. And if you don't advocate for yourself, well, you die. You get killed anyway by criminals. This is what it's coming to in America. You cannot live near these people anymore. It's just as simple as that. Because insofar as you're living near them, you're bound to get in an altercation with them. And insofar as you get in an altercation with them, you are going to have a lynch mob outside your house, and the police won't protect you. In fact, they will be there to charge you. They will be there to put you in jail. This is how it is now in America. And by the way, it's only going to get worse. This is only going to get worse. What happens if they let Derek Chauvin off the hook? And did you see the shooting today in Chicago? It was actually from 2 weeks ago, but they just released the video of a cop shooting some 13-year-old Mexican kid. And it's only going to get worse. You can't protect yourself. You can't protect your family. The police won't protect you. What are we supposed to do other than wait to die? Wait to either get killed by criminals or protect yourself and then get your life destroyed by the state. These are your options. These are your options for everybody in America in 2021. Make a plan, defend yourself, get away from these people, get away from the cities. That's really the only thing we can do at this point, is to leave the cities, get away from these neighborhoods where these kinds of things happen, and to coordinate with your neighbors, with your friends and family, to come up with a plan in case things like this happen. But this is where we are. And I'm not going to tell you, oh, could you imagine if the roles were reversed, double standard, whatever. The double standard is that the law is not being applied evenly. The double standard is that they hate white people and they love black people. That blacks and Hispanics can do no wrong and face no consequences. And white people are evil. White people are the scapegoat for everything. And the law applies harshly to them and to no one else. This is where we are now. And conservatives have got to just start calling it what it is. What's the angle here for your average conservative, other than to say you have somebody where they shouldn't be? The guy goes out and does everything right, and what happens? Black mob shows up in front of his house because they got nothing better to do, and the police arrest the guy. So fuck the blue, fuck BLM, we've got to take care of ourselves. And seriously, fuck the police. How many times do you have to see this happen before you realize that? How many times do you have to see this exact story play out before you realize that the police and the military and the government are not your friends? They are just the other side of the same coin. When you get in an altercation like this, you're just being sandwiched between both of them, between BLM on the one side and Blue Lives Matter on the other. They're blue lives, and they matter so damn much. The police chief in this community said, we don't allow bullies in our neighborhood. Yeah, just BLM lynch mobs, right? Just BLM lynch mobs throwing bricks through the window, no charges for them, and you allow that in the neighborhood. And you allow black people to loiter outside in a cul-de-sac, touching babies and women and everything like that. I guess that's perfectly okay, and it's never justified to push them away. That's our police. Thank you, police. Go and protest some more for them, right? Go and do more Blue Lives Matter protests. Go out there and say more great things about the police. They're truly your friends, right? No, of course not. So I see what happens with the police now, and I just laugh. I see them getting the spit. The BLM spits in their face. I see them down on their knees, and I just say, good. This is what they deserve. You want to create a BLM community? You want a virtue signal? You want to attack your own people? The only people that support you? You go and take your shot on the front lines with BLM then. You go and kill one of these people and be a national news story. I don't care if Derek Chauvin gets lynched anymore. If Derek Chauvin wasn't in this trial right now, he'd be doing what this police officer was doing, right? Derek Chauvin. I'm supposed to go, oh, Derek Chauvin did nothing wrong. I don't care about Derek Chauvin. Derek Chauvin doesn't care about me. Derek Chauvin doesn't care one bit about me, and neither do any of the police for that matter. Oh, there's some police officers that are good, sure. Never, it seems, when it matters, though. Not when we're protesting Stop the Steal in Atlanta. Not when this happens. Not for Jake Gardner. Not anywhere, it seems. And not even the police stick up for each other. One of these cops shoots the wrong person and they all throw him under the bus. Rats. And then they go and they get on the press conference and they say, this guy's a bully. We don't allow bullies in our community. Okay, yeah, well then you can take your chances with all the black people then. You take your chances then with BLM. The police can go get their faces spit in and they could get down on their knees and get exploded by fireworks then. Congratulations. This is what you wanted. We stuck up for you, and I did too. I stuck up for the police for a long time. I was Blue Lives Matter, and conservatives have done so for years. And this is how we get repaid, time and time again. And it's not even political. Decent, ordinary, family people getting thrown under the bus, ground to bits, and the police are not only complicit in it, they're doing it. It's under their discretion. Not only does this cop say like, oh, hey, well, I got to charge you. He doesn't charge anyone else. And then he goes on a press conference and says, well, he was a bully. Okay, really, man? Thanks a lot. So they're every bit a part of it as BLM. They're just as much a part of it as Al Sharpton. They're just as much a part of it as Joe Biden or any one of these people. They're just as much in it. I don't care what happens to them. They won't protect you. They'll hang you. They'll kill you. If BLM doesn't, the police will. How many times do you need to see it happen? This is only the latest. And by the way, this is a sergeant in the Army. This is 42-year-old guy, family guy, didn't even do anything wrong and knocked the guy's phone out of his hands. Throw the book at him, and lynch mob shows up. And this is the police response. I would say unbelievable, but it's not unbelievable. It's totally believable. This is just how it is now. So anyway, we're going to take a look at our Super Chats. We'll see what you guys are saying about all of this, but, I mean, geez.